Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here with you for another episode. Today, we're going to dive into all things energy, things that are shifting, things that are changing, currents, patterns, things that are opening up for a lot of people. It's like there's an energy right now of cracking open. I don't know if you feel it or sense it, but man, there has been a lot that's been cracking open for me as well. And I wanted to share because I love sharing from real life experiences, because that's the best way that we get to grow and we get to learn. So where I want to start off is the energy. Let's talk about energy. Go energy first, as we always say in our Thrive in Fives. Energetically, there is a lot happening right now. Friends of mine were saying that this current new moon, which I don't really follow the new moon and full moon cycles so much anymore. There was a time when I did, and I used to have these rituals that I would do at the new moon and full moon, but I don't really do that anymore. I feel like energy moves so quick day to day. Things are changing so fast day to day that it's more about me being grounded every single day, paying attention to what I feel, paying attention to what I'm sensing, and then really doing my best to move the energy as it's already moving through me, and then do my best to recalibrate, integrate, and ground. So that's really what I wanted to focus on today too, is the grounding process, because as our consciousness rises, which I believe that it is, I mean, it always is rising, but right now, there is so much shifting and changing that I feel like the energy is supporting us to crack open. And as we crack open, there's a lot of crap that comes to the surface. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of stuff from the past that begins to present itself. And so that can feel really wobbly for us because we have a very natural, patterned, cyclical way of living, being in the world. And when there's this cracking open effect, it can really rattle us because it takes us by surprise. It takes us by storm. It catches us on our feet and our toes. And sometimes it can upset us altogether and cause us to fall flat on our bums. And whenever that comes, it can feel really confusing because you might be manifesting really well. You might be setting your intentions powerfully. I know for myself, especially over the last several months, at least since January, I have been very conscious about my thinking, my thoughts, the direction that I'm going, really focusing on my manifestations, the power of my presence and my energy. And it's been very clear, very focused. And if I am not, then I'm doing energetic cleanup work. But most of the time, I'd say like 90% of the time, super clear and focused. So sometimes when we are experiencing that, when we're like, nah, I'm doing all the right things, like I'm manifesting, I'm creating, I'm doing my meditations, I've got my regular practice, I'm working on my mindset, I've got my mantras, I got my personal practice, I'm working out, I'm doing all the things, I'm drinking enough water, I'm doing all the things, and yet something just blew up and blew apart. Whenever that happens and it catches us off guard, it's usually because you're ready for that next leap, you're ready for that next jump, and jump as in your life, your identity, and who you're becoming. And what that often means, almost always, is we have to shift our identity. We have to change. We have to let go. And it's a death and rebirth cycle. We have to release the old. Sometimes, many times, it's the actual way that we're living, thinking, being, to rebirth into something new. And that can be really confusing because, again, if we are feeling really great and something sideswipes us, it feels just heavy, wobbly, concerning, confusing. And I want you to stay out of that confusion. Stay out of the questioning like, holy cow, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening? How is this coming up right now? I've been doing all the things. And if you can rise up quickly into your higher self and come back up to the higher self energy, then you'll get the clarity as to why this is really happening. And the why is usually because we are formulating the new version of ourselves. We're stepping into a new being. And so what I want to share with you is this past week, actually the last 2 weeks, I would say there's been a lot that's been shifting internally and I could feel it. I felt like I was on the precipice point of something new, something bigger, greater version of myself, greater manifestations. And when I'm not sure about what I'm creating, I just don't. Like I tend to get very present. I get very focused on my day to day. I enjoy the day-to-day moments. I enjoy life. I'm in creation, especially being that it's coming toward the end of summer, end of August, midsummer. It still is technically, I guess. And I really get present to summer because I love it so much. I love this energy. I love boating. I love being on the water and swimming and being with the kids and collecting berries and all the fruits of fruition that are around us, especially our apple tree this year. There's like 4,000 apples on it easily. And that's another episode for another day about abundance. However, this is my favorite season. Summer is one of my favorite seasons. So I like being present. I like actually slowing down a little bit so that I could savor it, so that I could fully be present. And I'm still working on my internal world. I'm working on my mantras. I'm working on bigger manifestations, working on really wanting to purchase a villa down in Mexico so that we don't have to rent down there anymore. And being that we're going to be going down there every 6 months, we're down there, and we're going to be doing that every year for the next little while. And there's many other manifestations too. And I know that every time I set in motion a manifestation, I'm going to be confronted with an old pattern, an old version of me that's probably been locked down, buried deep within, that isn't serving, or else I would have that manifestation already. And this is how you know if there is inner work to do, because if you're doing all the things when it comes to manifestation and creation, if you've been in Thrive or Light Leadership, you know that we focus a lot on manifestation, co-creation, mastery. Especially in Light Leadership, we're doing a lot of the identity work. Like in Thrive, we're doing a lot of the energetics. We're bringing forth the manifestation principles and co-creation. And then recently in our Divine Manifestation membership, we're really focusing on the energetics of each person tuning into their own manifestation cycle and season and the way that they manifest powerfully. And so we're having manifestation conversations all the time, everywhere, in every space right now. And what's so interesting is that whenever people are doing all those things, if their manifestations aren't showing up, one of the things that I always will look at is that there's probably something in the inner world, the inner self, the inner identity, probably something from our past that's been locked down. It's been hiding inside of us, and we really don't even know what's there. And so if we stay steady and focused and we keep on the vision and what we're creating and we're doing all the things, eventually we will catch up with ourselves, meaning we will have to face whatever is hiding inside of us that is in the way, like a barrier in the way of what we want next. And that's what happened to me over the last couple weeks. A couple weeks ago, we were at our friend's camper, and we had such a fun night. It was just a girls' night. It was so much fun. And yet we had to call 911 because there was a carbon monoxide alarm going off for at least 45 minutes to an hour. When it comes to gas, I've learned along the way, especially after watching my parents lose their house to a gas fire, you don't play with gas. You just don't mess around with that. And so we called 911, and I honestly don't ever remember personally myself calling 911. So this was almost like a crack open for me, which led to the following week, something so simple, and yet it cracked open something that was hiding inside of me since I was 12. I'm now 47 as I'm recording this. And I knew about this event. I had healed a lot from it. I had looked at it consciously. I had turned it over, the stone, pick up the stone, turn it over, turn it around, clear, heal. And yet there was some major stuff that was still hiding out of me in a cellular level, in my nervous system, and in my subconscious. And when this event paralleled very similar to where I was at that time when I was 12, and the circumstances, the situations, the whole thing, the whole scene, it triggered and brought up all of that which was on lockdown inside my body since I was 12. And when it cracked open, it blew open. And I cried for probably 2 days straight. I purged, I released, I dreamt about anger. I was in this black box where there was no light, and I was just raging for, I felt like the entire night. And then at one point I saw this beautiful light being in front of me, and she said, she kind of descended down from the ceiling, and she said, "It's okay, you can put it down now." And I just remember falling to my knees like this heavy weight. And I just let it go. And when I woke up the next morning, and all this happened within a 24-hour period, when I woke up the next morning, I didn't feel anger. I just felt sad. There was so much grief and sadness, and I couldn't stop crying for at least 12 hours at that point. And I had an opportunity to confront and talk about it and bring it forward and address it. And it didn't come out in a pretty way. And yet it was exactly what was needed in that moment, because that 12-year young self, that version of me, she was on lockdown. She had been holding all of that inside for 30 plus years. And this was her moment. I felt like that 12-year young self backed into a corner, and everything she would have wanted to say, every emotion she would have wanted to blast out, it all came within a very short time, within 12 hours. And from start to finish, within 24 hours, it had lifted. And even as I'm recording this today, this is day 2, I think, from that experience, I don't feel raw like I did yesterday. Yesterday, I felt very sensitive, felt very raw. Today, when I woke up, I felt that in between. I felt the void. I felt this sense of, I know that there's a new version of me that's being created right now, and I can feel her, and I can feel emotion around it too. And yet I don't have the clarity as to what she is going to formulate herself to be as yet. I know she exists. I know that next version of me is there. And yet I haven't received the download, the insight, the clarity as to who she's going to become as I integrate. I feel like I'm in an integration process right now. And I'm sharing this all with you because this caught me by surprise. I have been steady, clear, certain, on my path, creating, actively focused on what it is that I want, doing all the things. And this caught me by surprise. And I'm sharing it very authentically with you because I feel like there's not enough conversations that happen like this out there. Things catch us by surprise. And it's not a matter of how long it's going to take you to move through something. I've always said that. It's really about your presence. Can you drop into it? And as you drop into it, can you presence it, move the energy, get the support that you need, and then allow yourself to integrate? And as you integrate, that I have no idea how long this integration process is going to be. I just know I need to be with it, and I need to witness it, and I need to feel it. And as I'm feeling it, I'm not judging it. I'm not rushing things. I'm not plowing forward. I've got a cajillion things that I know I could be doing right now for all sorts of things. And yet my whole consciousness, my energy, my body, all parts of me are like, nope, no, right now you're going to sit and record a podcast. Earlier today, it was right now you're going to go for a walk with the kids and pick apples. Before that, it was right now you're just going to sit and make a matcha latte. Before that, it was like you're just going to breathe. You're going to sit here and you're going to breathe. And it's bit by bit. It's almost as though my higher consciousness is saying, don't force, don't rush, don't push, don't hyperspeed. That's who you've been. That's what was known. You're getting ready to carve a new way, and it's going to require a new way for you to also function. And again, I know my higher self knows what that looks like. It hasn't dropped down as a full insight as yet. It will. And I'm doing my best to really honor this phase, this cycle, this processing, and this integration. And so for yourself, maybe bookmark this episode for a future time whenever the stuff hits the fan, when it surprises you, to remember as a reminder, you don't have to force, you don't have to push, you don't have to race through to the other side. You don't force gestational periods when you're birthing, when you're holding a baby. You don't force birthing the process, unless maybe if something else intervenes, I suppose. However, then if you allow things to occur naturally, things occur. It's like, I don't have to force the seasons. I don't have to force the apple tree to grow. Everything is in its due time, and it's perfect. And I trust that right now, in all that I've been creating and holding space for, I know that the next version of me that's about to emerge, she is going to be something awesome. I can feel it. And I don't want to put too many descriptors to it because I don't want to shape it necessarily. I really want it to unfold in a way where my higher self is guiding the process, where the most natural version of me, the blueprint from my soul of what was intended before I even got here, that drops down. That's the guiding force, not my imprint on it, not my impression on it, not the world's imprint or impression, not the conditioning, not the reaction response, but truly from a place of purity, clarity, and soul vision. And so I invite you to do the same wherever you're at in your season cycle of life. Really allow in that relationship with your soul, with your divine self, so that you can continue to reconnect with the soul vision, the soul blueprint of who you were intended to be, what you were intended to be, without the conditioning, without the stories, without the past, without all that stuff, especially once you've seen and cleared and released a lot of the stuff from your past. And if you are in a season or a cycle or a moment right now where there's stuff coming up, move yourself through, but then refrain from pushing or forcing or making. A lot of times, I use this analogy of like taking clay or taking Play-Doh. We have this creative tendency to want to mold the clay and want to make something new of it. Give yourself the space to really just sit in the in-between, to sit in the space, to see how your higher self and your soul blueprint and your soul design wants to drop down and really start to create something miraculous, because you are miraculous. There's no doubt about that. We're all miraculous. It's now time for us to realign with that miraculous energy. So I hope this has resonated. If you love this episode, we would love you to leave us a review. There's the option, I think, on most of them where you can select the number of stars. We would love for you to leave us a review. Share the episode if this resonates with you. And I can't wait to connect again on the next episode. I hope you have the most beautiful day today. Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness, yeah.
Woo!
Woo!